Hi everybody, I'm Alexis.
And I'm Dylan.
And we are here for
another episode of Key Lime Kids.
Yep, where we teach you a kitchen skill and then demonstrate that skill in a recipe. I'm so happy that Dylan is my helper today. Do you know why?
Because we're buttering pans.
We're buttering pans, and I think Dylan, out of everyone, probably shares my love of butter the most in the family. When Dylan was little, I think maybe about 2 years old, we were out at a restaurant at a big family gathering, and I looked over at her table and she was licking butter out of the butter dish, just eating it plain. So anyway, and when this whole lockdown thing started, the thing that I had in my freezer but I was afraid of running out of, butter. I think I had 7 pounds in the freezer. Don't tell anybody. Okay, so anyway, we are going to demonstrate a couple of different ways that you can butter pans and get them ready, because what's really important about recipes when you're baking?
That you always butter the pan first, because otherwise you have all of your batter and you have nowhere to put it.
That's right. You don't want to spend all this time getting your batter just perfect and then all of a sudden have to scramble because you don't have anywhere to put it, right? You do it first. Okay, you ready to get started? Okay, roll up your sleeves. It's time to get to work. I have some butter here that's been sitting out for a little bit. It makes it a little easier to butter your pan if it's a little bit soft. You can pop it into the microwave for a few seconds just to soften it up if you need to. But all right, get going on that. And I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. Dylan's going to butter the pan, and she importantly is going to get all the nooks and crannies, all the little corners. And I'm going to just talk about, while she's doing that, some different ways that you can prep your pan. I have one here. Sometimes, not the recipe we're doing today, but sometimes you can use tin foil. And this is a really easy trick to use tin foil to line your pan, and you don't have to butter it. And you just turn your pan over, put the tin foil on, and mold it around the pan. And then what you can do is flip it over and it fits in perfectly. This is a good technique to use when your batter has a lot of butter or fat in it and you don't have to worry about it sticking to the pan so well. And then when you're done, you just lift it out, and that's super easy. So today we are also going to use parchment paper to line our pan. So after Dylan has buttered it, we are going to lay the parchment paper in and put it down. The butter helps it stick. Parchment's non-stick, so you don't have to butter it a lot once it goes in, but if you have some extra butter, you can rub it around in there. And the thing that I really like about using this is the parchment paper. When you're done, it's kind of like handles. So when you pull what you're baking out, you can just, it works well for brownies and bars and stuff like that. Not so well for cakes because it could break a little bit, but things that are a little bit more sturdy. So she's just gonna finish that up, and then we're gonna show you the recipe. Okay, so Dylan's been mashing bananas because she finished her pan, which looks beautiful. And you had one more question, didn't you? You were asking me about...
So sometimes we flour the pans instead of just buttering them. Why would we not do it this time?
Good question. We don't need to do it this time because it's not a very sticky batter, and the pan we have lined with parchment. So sometimes you bake things in a bundt pan. It's got lots of little ridges and nooks and crannies, and a lot of times if you have something in the batter like fruit or chocolate chips, they can stick and make it really hard to get out. The flour adds another layer of protection, but we don't need that for this one. But good. Yeah, normally you'd add a little bit of flour, tap it, and dump out the excess if you have a pan like that. Okay, great. So let's move on. Dylan has been mashing the bananas. Again, I don't think we told anybody what we're making today, did we? We are making healthy banana bars. This is a great snack. Kids are gonna love it. And it's very healthy. We've got whole wheat flour, we've got almond butter, we're using coconut sugar, which is one of my favorite kinds of sugar. It's a little bit more healthy, and I don't know. Do you like it? Yeah. Dylan doesn't even like almond butter, but you like this recipe too, don't you? Okay, so she's mashed the bananas. I'm gonna add the egg. And then I want you to whisk that together. This is a really easy recipe. And then we're gonna add in the almond butter. You could also use cashew butter, peanut butter, but I think the almond butter is the best. But You certainly could use a different nut butter if you like a different nut butter. Just same exact proportions. Okay, yep, mix that in. Yep, we're getting all of our wet ingredients in here first, and then we're gonna add the sugar. Just keep whisking, good. It helps if we keep our almond butter in the refrigerator because it helps it stay fresher longer. And it helps if you take it out a little bit before you're gonna make this recipe so it's not super, super cold. It won't mix as well. Perfect. We're gonna add the flour. We're using a whole wheat flour. Dump. You could use white flour too if you don't have whole wheat. We're trying to make these healthy kid snack bars. And, but we are adding chocolate chips because just cause, yeah. So when we add the chocolate chips, I'm gonna take out the whisk because otherwise you just get chocolate chips all stuck in there. And that's no fun to try to get out. And we're gonna switch to the spatula. All right, so Dylan is gonna continue to mix that. We're gonna pour it in our pan. So a lot of times we just go straight to the oven, or we stop filming and then say, and now we're gonna go bake this. But I think that since we did such a lovely pan, we should pour our batter in the pan today before we sign off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's it. It's really, you did a really good job mixing. We're gonna pour it in. Yummy. These are really, really good. Great snack to have on hand. All right, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.